Very few people were joined till. Oh God, day by day your strength is reducing a lot. I'm expecting much from you. Yeah, good. So here what I do is, yes, initially I'll start with how to iterate through the data structures. I'll start with that. So here initially what I'll do is I'll define one list. In this list, I'll specify few elements like a 1, 5, 3, 1, sorry, yeah, not 1 again, 8, 9. Let's suppose I'm specifying these elements in the list. Now, after defining this list, I want to iterate through each and every element present in a list. To iterate through each and every element present in a list, we'll be having several approaches. See here, I'll explain you all the different approaches. So coming to the first approach here, we'll be having Pythonic way of iteration. So if you remember the syntax of for loop, so you can understand this one easily. Pythonic way of iteration. It's a very easy way of iteration. See now what I want to do is, see coming to the structure of for loop, for I in set, that is for variable in iterable object. Iterable object is nothing but data structure. There I told you. So now here what I will do is simply I'll say for I in L. So here list is an iterable object. After that, simply I want to print a value present in I. Simply I'll print I. So yeah, I'll print I. So whenever you print I, so for the first iteration, it is giving 1. For the next iteration, it is giving 5. For the next iteration, it is giving 3. Like that, it is giving all the values present in a list. It is said as Pythonic way of iteration. Not only through list, guys, you can iterate through the string also. Let's suppose here, I'll define a string like s equals to, yeah, here I'll define string like Jakub.1832. Let's suppose I'm defining this one as a string. Now I want to iterate through each and every character present in it. For I in S, simply we can say for I in S. So after saying this thing here, what I need to do is simply I'll say I'll print I. And here I want to use separator like a tab. Here I want to use tab as a separator. Here I want to use tab as a separator. Okay. So here you can see, guys, each and every attribute will be separated with the tab distance. So here for the first iteration, I value will be y. After that, you will get a tab distance. After that, I value will be incremented. That means it will move to the next character. Like that, by taking help of this Pythonic way of iteration, we can access any character from the string. It's about Pythonic way of iteration. Sorry, I forgot. I did not explain you loop transfer statements, I think. Yeah, I did not explain you loop transfer statements. Here I'll clear that thing also. Loop transfer statements. So coming to this loop transfer statements case, here we'll be having 3 different loop transfer statements present in Python. First one is a break, second one is a continue, third one is pass. Third one is pass. Now here what I will do is, so wherever this character dot occurs, with that I want to terminate the string. So whenever your character equals to dot, at that time I want to terminate my loop. We need to terminate the loop. So here coming to the description of break. So if someone asks you in an interview, what is the purpose of break? So for that you will be having very simple answer. That is, so here it is also said as loop terminator. We can simply say this one as a loop terminator. Whenever you want to terminate a loop, we can use break statement. So if some condition, based on some condition, we can do it. And coming to the continue, if someone asks you regarding continue, you can say answer like it's a value skipper. Simply you can say answer like value skipper. Okay, it is said as value skipper. After this, we'll be having pass. The purpose of this pass statement is do nothing. It won't do anything. That's why it is said as do nothing. Now, to make you familiar with it, what I'll do is, here I want to take one user defined input, a equals to input of enter a character. to terminate. Yeah, enter a character to terminate. Let's suppose here I'm giving this. I'm writing this thing in it. After this, simply what I'll do is I'll copy paste same thing. I'll copy paste same thing. So here in this for loop, what I want to do is I'll check if I equals to dot or not. So it's in this thing, in this ID, I don't want to I don't want to get this digits. So wherever this dot occurs, with the dot I want to terminate the loop. Till before this dot only I want to get in an output. So for that here what I'm saying is if I equals to dot, whenever this condition is satisfied, I want to break my loop. So here I want to break my loop. So here I'll execute this portion so that we'll understand what happens here. So I want to enter character like that. So here you can see the magic. So here whenever you see previously we got while iterating to this string, we got output like entire string. Jakub.1832. We got entire things. But now what I did is simply I did not see whenever this character occurs here, I kept break. Whenever this condition satisfied, I kept break. Whenever we kept a break, if this condition is satisfied, it is terminating this loop. It is not printing the characters after this. It's not printing characters after this. Whereas now what I'll do is same program. I'll copy paste same program. Yes, perfect. After this, in place of break, I'll keep continue now. So we continue is also said as value skipper. To skip a specific value, we need to use this or this one. So again, I will give dot only. What it is giving? So it is giving Jakub 1832. It's not giving the dot. It is skipping the dot. So the purpose of continue statement is in the program, if you don't want to consider specific value in the program, if you don't want to consider specific value, at the time you can say this thing. If your value is equals to that specific value, skip that value. Continue. If you say continue means it will skip that value. It won't consider this value. And it will give remaining values as well. It's about break and continue. Let's suppose in place of same thing, if I keep pass, nothing will happen if you keep pass. But it is said as it is used to provide a delay in the program basically. To provide a minute milliseconds of delay in a program, we'll use this pass statement. So the purpose of this pass statement will be do nothing. And to make you familiar with it perfectly, what I'll do is here, yeah, good. I'll take simple for loop. Again, you might not understood this imperfectly. I think I'm feeling like that. So here what I'll do is if I equals to 5, whenever I value becomes 5, I want to terminate this loop. And irrespective of this thing, this if condition, I want to print I value. So whenever you print I value, it will print value till 5 only. So wherever the value equals to 5, our execution will be comes out of the loop. So here it is giving output till 4 only. So whenever this condition satisfied, it is terminating this loop. So with this, you might be understood perfectly. I hope you are getting. Someone is pinged in the chat. Sir, what is the use of input a variable? I did not understood your question. What is the use of input a variable? Can you please explain me or your question? ఇక్కడ ఇది ఎందుకు తీసుకున్నా అంటున్నారా? అన్మ్యూట్ చేసి చెప్పమ్మా, ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. వేరియబుల్ ఎందుకు తీసుకున్నా? యా, ఎందుకు తీసుకున్నానంటే ఐ వాంట్ టు చెక్ ది స్పెసిఫిక్ కండిషన్. సో నా రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఏంటి అంటే వేర్ ఎవర్ ద డాట్ అక్కర్స్, సో ఇక స్పెసిఫిక్ క్యారెక్టర్ తో టర్మినేట్ చేయడానికి. సో ఇన్ దిస్ ఇటరేషన్ ఐ గేవ్ డాట్, బట్ నెక్స్ట్ టైం వాట్ ఐ విల్ డూ ఈస్ ఐ వాంట్ టు టర్మినేట్ విత్ అ బి. సో ఇన్ ద రన్ టైమ్ వీ కెన్ గివ్ క్యారెక్టర్ బి. With this b, it will be terminated. So if you want to terminate with the specific character, if you want to skip a specific character, I took user defined input. Okay. To terminate or to skip a specific character, I took user defined character. That is not a mandatory thing again. You can specify that thing like a constant value also. It depends. It is your based on your requirement, you can specify that. Okay, good, perfect. Now what I'll do is here I'll specify continue. So whenever we specify continue here, there's 5 only skipped. I will get remaining all values. That's about the break and continue statements, guys. I'll come out of it, and again I'll come to our loops concept where we are, yes, how to iterate through the data structure. Yeah, here it is said as Pythonic way of iteration. It's about Pythonic way of iteration. I'll copy paste it at the bottom so that in same place, in one place I'll keep all the codes, like a different ways of iterations. So first way is Pythonic way of iteration. After this, we'll be having a traditional approach. So how we can do this thing by using traditional approach. So to do this thing by using traditional approach, here what we can do is, simply we can say for I in traditional approach means by using range function. So if we use range function in this, we need to say length of list first, and simply I'll print I value. What happens? We'll see what happens. So if you see print of I, what happens? So here it is giving 0, 1, 2, 3, something, something. It is giving till 4. So what's happening here? See here, length is a function which is used to know the number of characters present in a list. So in this list, how many elements will be having? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll be having 5 elements. So in this range function, we specified only 5. It means if we said length of L means, in this we specified only 5. So if you specify 5 means, if you specify only one value in the range function means, by default, it will be considered as ending value. By default, it will be considered as ending value. So here for this, we need to specify starting value, that is starting index. Here I'm specifying starting index like 0. Here I'm specifying starting index like, see, by default starting index like 0. We need not to specify it. By default, it will be considered like 0. So here in this range function, it will be considered like it is starting with 0, ends with 5. And here 5 will be excluded. So that here you are getting indexes. So indexes will be starts with 0 only, right? Here we are getting indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the indexes. Someone is trying to log in with this registered ID. Wait a minute. Okay, good. We'll continue. Nothing will happen. Yeah, good. Now what I am doing is, see here, it is a traditional way. In this traditional way, we are getting indexes, but we should not get. What's happening? Yeah, good. And tomorrow onwards, I'll record it in my local computer so that it will be very convenient. But to forward this file, it will become a little bit difficult. That's why I am not recording in my laptop. Okay, good. So here it is said as this one. See, in this, we are getting indexes. But we should not get indexes. We need to get a value which is present at that index, right? For that, simply we need to say the data structure name. In the slicing bracket, we need to specify that index so that you will get a values. It's about accessing the values present in any data structure by using for loop. That is a traditional way. After this, how to access the values present in a list by using while loop. So whenever you want to access with a while loop, initially you need to have list with you. Let's suppose if you have elements in a list like this. Let's suppose these are the elements present in a list. First, we need to specify, we need to initialize the value. I'm specifying I equals to 0. After that, here I'll say while I less than length of, here I will say L. So here length of L contains an integer value. So in this case, how many elements will be having? 3, 4, 5, 6. Will be having 6 as a length. It will be considered as ending value. Now, for each and every iteration, what we need to do? We need to print a character which is presented that index. So for that, simply we'll say L of I. After saying L of I, next what I want to do is, I need to increment I value. It's about iterating through one data structure by using while loop. See here, in this we are doing same thing in a one line, but here we need to specify 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. So here, compared to while loop, for loop is the faster one to perform any operation on data structure. And in the for loop also, we'll be having Pythonic way of iteration. That's more easier to iterate through any data structure. In this way, in a similar way, we can iterate through the tuple also, as well as string also. Okay. But here, that iterating through the dictionary is a different thing. I'll show you that thing later. But here, what I will be having one more function. We'll be having evaluate function. So here, evaluate is an advantageous function, not evaluate function, enumerate function, sorry. Enumerate function. So here, coming to the purpose of the enumerate function, now I want to iterate through the list. While iterating through the list, I want to get index as well as value present at the specific location. I want to get index as well as value presented specific index. So for that, we'll be having enumerate function. Now here, previously we'll be having list, right? So here I'm using this index as a enumerate function. I'll explain you syntax of this enumerate function. So in this, whenever you want to use an enumerate function, we need to specify two parameters here. So first parameter corresponding to index and second parameter corresponding to the value. Okay, first parameter corresponding to index, second parameter corresponding to value. After that, here I'll say in enumerate of. Here in enumerate of. Here I'll say I want to iterate to the list. So here I want to iterate to the list. For each and every iteration, I want to print. So here I want to print. Yeah, I'll use a format specifier here. Format of, in the first bracket, I want to print. Yeah, value present at index. See here, value presented index is. Here I want to get a value. So here I want to print output in this fashion. I want to iterate through each and every value present in it. Okay, good. So here value presented index. See, first I want to get an index. So here I want to get a value present in I in the first bracket. In the second bracket, I want to get a value present in B. Okay, now I want to execute this portion. So guys, here you can see the advantage of enumerate function. So by using this enumerate function, we can get index as well as value present in any data structure at a time. So here, now here you can see guys, where it is. Yeah, yes. So value presented index 0 is 1. So here in this list, at the index 0, we'll be having 1. At the index 1, we'll be having 4. At the index 2, we are having 5. Like that, we accessed indexes as well as values. If you want to access index as well as value present in any data structure, we'll be having enumerate function guys. And after this, here we'll be having one more thing. Yeah, good. So if you want to specify customized indexing, by default indexing will be starts with 0. If you want to keep customized indexing, you can keep customized indexing also. Let's suppose I want to start index with a 5. Start equals to 5. If you keep 5 in start equals to 5, here index will be starts with 5. Here index will be starts with 5. Okay, perfect. Now here it is about the thing. So in this example, you can see the indexes are starting with 5 guys. So if you want to start with a customized indexing, you can specify customized indexing also in this enumerate function. Okay, that's about enumerate function. Any doubt? If you have any doubts, ask me. Don't draw this kind of things. Okay. See, I'll be more polite. You need to stay like that so that you'll get more things. Huh? Good. Next thing will be how to create data structure dynamically. I'll come back to that. How to create data structure dynamically. So whenever you want to create a data structure dynamically, yeah, we'll see how to iterate through the dictionary first. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'll create one dictionary. We'll see what happens. Here I'll specify key equals to, yeah, I'll say key 1. After that, I'll specify value like 1, comma, key 2. I'll specify value like TW2. Yeah, it's more than enough. Yeah. Now I will say for I in D. So if you say for I in D and if you print I, what happens? Print of I. So here, whenever you want to iterate through the dictionary, so if you iterate through the dictionary by using for loop, what happens here? So here it will be give keys present in a dictionary. Now, if you want to iterate through the dictionary keys, here will be having. So whenever you iterate through the dictionary, also same thing will happen. Now, what I'll do is, yeah, good. Where I did? Yeah, good. Here only, right? Now, what I'll do is, I'll say for I in D dot values. I want to iterate through the values present in a dictionary. So here I'll say for, sorry, we need to print I right now. It means I'm iterating through the values present in a dictionary. Dict attribute has no value. See here values, right? D dot values. It's about iterating through values present in a dictionary. So here, whenever you iterate through the dictionary, by default, it will be considered keys present in the dictionary. Whereas if you want to get a values, if you want to get only values from the dictionary, we can apply D dot values attribute. Whereas if you want to get a values by using this syntax, you can iterate through the dictionary in this way. Like here, you can say D of I. Whatever the thing previously we did for list, we can do same thing. If you say D of I means, it will give the value corresponding to that dictionary. Okay, it's about iterating through dictionary. It's about iterating through dictionary. Yeah, wait a minute. Give me a minute. Good, thank you. It's about iterating through dictionary. After iterating through dictionary, we'll see how to create dictionary. Sorry, how to create data structure dynamically. To create this data structures dynamically, guys, we'll be having a lot of approaches. As I already explained, the first approach in yesterday's class, that is by using evaluate function. By using evaluate function, here we can create any data structures, as we already saw that thing in yesterday's class. Now I want to create a list by using for loop. So here I want to create a list by using for loop, and in this list I want to take first 1 to 10 elements. So here for I in range of 1 comma 11. Let's suppose here I want to create a list in the range of 1 to 10. So after this, here I'll specify L dot append of I. So for each and every iteration, we'll get I value that is in the range of 1 to 10. I want to append all those values in the list. So finally, after appending all this value, I want to look at the content present in a list. So if you look at the content present in a list, here it is a list. Yeah, we created a list. Now from this list, what I want to do is I want to create a new list by taking by taking even elements from this list. I want to create a new list. So for that, what we need to do? So here I'm creating one more new list with the name even. After this, what I'll do is I need to iterate to the first list. For I in L, I want to iterate to the first list. So it is a Pythonic way of iteration. After this, now what I want to do is I want to check whether it is divisible with 2 or not. I want to check whether each and every element is divisible with 2 or not. Whenever this divisibility condition is satisfied, then only I want to append that element into my list, even dot append of I. So finally, if you observe even list, so here if you observe even, it will give you an even numbers list. So here it is a even numbers list which are present in this main list. Now I want to create a new list with the only odd numbers present in this list. I want to create a new list with the odd numbers present in this list. To do that thing, what I'll do is, see here, I'll say I'm creating one empty list. After that, here I need to iterate to the data structure for I in L. So whenever you say for I in L, so we are iterating through it. So here the condition will be, here itself we can do it. So guys, see, If you want to create even and odd elements separate list, we can specify that thing here itself. Here itself, we can say here, if it is, we need to perform appending operation with the odd numbers. So here I'll say r dot append of I. So we can say r dot append of I. So here I want to add that element into odd list. Finally, I want to print both the list. So here I'll say print of even, comma, odd. I want to print both the things. So whenever you print both the list, here it is the first list which is containing only even elements, and it is the second list which is containing odd elements. Now what I want to do is I want to square each and every element present in a list. I want to create a new list by squaring each and every element. I'm creating a new function with the name of sqr. After that, what I'll do is I want to iterate through each and every element present in the list for I in L. After iterating through each and every element, what I'll do is here I'll say the condition. What is that condition? Yeah, we're not having any condition. Simply we need to square each and every element. Sqr dot append of, while appending this element, we need to perform squaring operation on the element. So whenever you say this thing, and if you observe the content of sqr, it will give you a list with a squared fashion. Whatever the original list you took, by squaring all those elements, we are getting new list. Okay, it is about performing different operations easily on the list. But whatever the things we saw still, those are traditional approaches, guys. These are not standard approaches. See here, we'll be having concept called comprehension, guys. By using a concept called comprehension, we can perform all these operations in a single step. So here, comprehension is a technique which is used to perform operations very easily on the data structures. To perform operations very easily and conveniently, we'll be having comprehension concept. Now, see here, the syntax of this comprehension will be different for different data structures. Syntax will be same, internal parameters will be same, but the brackets will be changes. Let's suppose if you want to create a list by using comprehension. Let's suppose if you want to create a list by using comprehension. So whenever you want to create a list by using comprehension, we need to specify list bracket. In this list bracket, first we need to specify statement, guys. Here initially we need to specify statement. After specifying statement, here we need to specify loop. So whatever the loop you want to specify, you can specify that loop. After specifying loop, if you required any condition on that statement, if you want to apply any condition, you can specify that condition here, guys. Here you can specify that stuff. So here initially I want to create a list. Here initially I want to create a list with the elements in the range of 1 to 10. By using comprehension, I want to create a list with the elements in the range of 1 to 10. To create that list here, what I'll do is first, see here, I don't want to write a statement first directly. Here I'll take for loop. I'm taking for loop like for I in range of 1 to 11. So here I'm saying for I in range of 1 to 11. After this, simply here we're not having any condition. It is not a mandatory one. It's an optional one. Based on your requirement, if you want, you can keep it. If it is not required, we need not to keep it. Okay. So now here I'll say I. So here I'm saying see for I in range of 1, 11. I'm iterating through each and every value in the range of 1 to 10. After iterating through each and every value, for each and every iteration, whatever the value we are getting, I am adding that value in a list. That is the meaning of it. Now, if you observe the content of list, we'll get a same values which we got previously. We'll get same values. Okay. Now, what I'll do is previously we created a list with the even elements only, right? So here, by iterating through this thing, we created a even numbers list, right? We'll do same thing by using this comprehension so that you can compare next time. So you can go to the top after finishing this session, you can easily compare it. Now, initially, what I want to do is I want to iterate through the list. For I in L, I'm iterating through the list by using Python. After iterating through the list, what I'll do is I want to check the condition. That is, if I percentile 2 equals to 0 or not. If I percentile 2 equals to 0 or not. If this condition is satisfied, then only I want to print I value. See, if this condition is satisfied, then only I want to print I value. So whenever, yeah, see, simply, if you look at the content present in even now, after doing this operation, if you see the content present in even, so here in a single step, we created a list with even numbers. Simple guys, it's very easy one. First, we are specifying for loop. After that, we are specifying condition. Whenever this condition is satisfied, we are printing this statement. We are printing this statement. After this, what I'll do is simple. I want to create a list with odd numbers present in the range of 1 to 10. Okay. Now here in this list, what I'll do is, yeah, good. Here what I'll do is, I'll say odd. I want to print I for I in L again. After this, here I want to keep condition like if I percentile 2 not equals to 0. I'm saying this one. So after this, if you look at the output of odd, it will give you a list with all odd numbers. It will create a list with all odd numbers. Similarly, we created a list with a square of elements, right? So we'll create same thing here also. To create a square of each and every element, simple. First, we need to take for loop for I in L. See here, and simply here we'll say I square. So here, if you say I square, here it will create a new list with the name square, and in this you'll get all squared elements. See guys, you might get a confusion like here we are not, sir, is it we are exactly creating this list, or else we are looking the content present in the top only? No, not like that. Here also we are creating a list dynamically. Comprehension is a very advanced concept to create a data structure. Okay, good. Yes, perfect. Everything is okay. Good. Now next thing will be good. Next thing will be, yeah, yes, it's about a comprehension on list. So in an interview, very important interview question is, what happens if you apply comprehension on tuple? What happens if you apply comprehension on tuple? Tuple. So here what happens if you apply comprehension on tuple? So whenever you apply comprehension on the tuple, what happens? Is it create a list? Is it possible? See here, coming to tuple guys, these are immutable or not changeable data types, so that dynamically we won't create a tuple data structure. Whereas whenever you apply comprehension on the list, sir, in dynamic all case, can we take user input and create the list? Yeah, yes, you can take. That depends on your requirement. So based on our requirement, we can take it. Okay. See, keep your questions in brain. At the end of the session, you can ask, so that it will be convenient to everyone, guys. Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect. Now here, what happens if we apply comprehension on a tuple? See, guys, tuples are a immutable data types, so that dynamically we can't create a tuple. So whenever you try to create tuple dynamically, it will create a generator object. It will create a generator object. First, we'll see that thing. After that, we'll move to that. Like what's happening in the backend. I'll explain you generator object and what is the advantage of generator and what is the difference between iterator and generator. I'll explain you that stuff. So now here what I'm doing is I'm using parentheses. So to create a tuple, I'm using parentheses. Here I'm saying for I in range of, I'll say 1, 11. So if you say 1, 11, now if you observe type of T. So if you observe type of T, see here you can see it is giving generator. So here, whenever you apply comprehension on the tuple, it won't create a tuple. Why? Means it is a immutable data type, whereas in place of tuple, it will create a generator object. Now what I'll do is I want to look at the content present in tuple, so that it won't give you an output. It will give you an address where these values are stored. See guys, we'll be having two kind of objects. One is iterator and generator. Whatever the data structure still we are saw, that is either dictionary, list, tuple, set, these are iterable objects, are iterators. So here coming to the iterators, we will store the value. While storing the values at some specific location, we'll access the values based on our requirement. Whereas coming to the generators, see here we won't store the values. We store the values for only one instance. So here, let's suppose at a time, if you want to take 1 lakh samples, if you want to store all those 1 lakh samples in your CPU, it will take a lot of memory. To save that memory, if you need huge amount of value, at the time we'll take data in the form of generator. So whenever you use the data present in this generator, it won't be present again. I'll explain you that thing clearly. Don't worry. Wait for 1 minute. Yeah, here. So if you want to access any element present in a generator, so we'll be having next method. So whenever you say next of t, it will give you first element present in it. So again, if you say next of t, it will give you a next element present in a generator object. Now, so by using for loop, we can iterate through this generator object also. To iterate through the generator object, what I'll do is I'll say for I in, yeah, for I in, yeah, simply I'll say for I in t, and here I'll print I. So here, guys, you can observe we already accessed the first two elements, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are won't present in this t. Now it will be starts with 3. So if you observe the output of this thing, you'll get output from here 3 to 10. You'll get output from 3 to 10. Now again, what I'll do is I want to access those values for I in t. Simply I'll say for I in t, and if you print I value, it won't give any output. Why it is not giving output? See here, it is a difference between generator and iterator. Let's suppose if you observe the content present in a list, in this list will be having some values. It is an iterator object. Iterable values are iterator. So here you can see for I in L. So if you say for I in L, if you print it, so if you perform print I, see here L is separator, I want to get all the values in the same line. So here we got all these values. Now again, I want to copy paste it and I'll execute it. Again, how many times you want to print these values, that many times it will give you in an output. So it is about iterator object, iterable or iterator. So coming to the iterator, will store value at some location. Wherever this value is required, we can access for that time. Whereas coming to this generator object, we won't store these values. We'll store these values for in an instance memory. So whenever it requires, we'll use it. So after using those values, these values will be disappears. Okay, that is the difference between iterator and generator. So it's a very, very important thing. And if you search in an internet, you'll get a lot of description regarding it. And it is a very important interview question. What is the difference between iterator and generator? See, coming to these concepts, I gave you one assignment. That is, what is the difference between deep copy and shallow copy? Second one is, what is the difference between iterator and generator? So this thing will happen whenever you apply comprehension on a tuple. Now I'll explain you what happens whenever we apply comprehension on a set data structure. Yes, we can create set also by using comprehension. Now here what I'll do same thing. I for I in range of 1, 11. So if you look at the content present in set, it will give you all the attributes present in it, and similarly you can see the type of this also. It will give you set only. By using comprehension, we can create a dictionary also. I want to create a dictionary. So to create a dictionary here, what I'll do is, I want to create a dictionary with I and I square. So here I want to iterate through the loop. I want to iterate through the values for I in. Simply I'll iterate through the entire list for I in L. So here, if you observe the content of D, here we created a dictionary. So if you observe type of D, here you can see the dictionary. So here it is about the T. Now here, my requirement is I'll be having two lists. So I'll be having one list like 1, 2, 3, 8, 5. Let's suppose it is my first list. And here I'll be having one more list. Here I'll say L1 and L2. L1, comma. So here I'll specify L2 equals to, here I'll specify few more elements like 9, 8, 5, comma 4. Let's suppose I'll specify one more element 7. Let's suppose I specified two lists. In this two list, I will be specifying separate elements. Now here I want to create a new list with the unique elements present in a list one. First requirement is I want to create a unique list present in a list one. So compared to these two lists, whatever the different elements, unique elements will be having in a list one, with that I want to create a list. And second list will be I want to create with the common elements present in both the list. That is my requirement. So I'll explain you this thing by using comprehension. You need to do it by using traditional approach. Okay, good. I'm creating this thing by using, I want to store the result in a unique variable. After that, first I want to iterate through the list one. So here I'll say for I in L1. I want to iterate through each and every element present in list one. After that, here I want to check the condition like if I not in L2. Whatever the I we are taking here, if it is not present in L2, then only we need to print I value. Then only we need to print I value. See here, it is about the thing. After this, here, I want to create a list with the common elements. So here I'm creating list with the name common. So coming to this common elements also same thing. I for I in L1. First I want to iterate to the first list. After that, if I in L2. So common elements means it will present in L1 as well as L2. Those are common elements. So here I'll print both the things in an output. Print. So here I'll print unique elements list comma equals to unique. So here I need to get a unique elements list. After that, similarly, I want to get an elements present in a common list. So here I'll specify common. So if you specify common here, it will give you common elements. Now here you'll get a beautiful output. See here, these are the unique elements present in list one, and these are the common elements present in a list two. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll do same thing by using traditional way. I want to do same thing by using traditional way. If you want to do same thing by using traditional way, what we need to do? See here, simply what we need to do is good, perfect. So here first we need to create a unique list. See here I'm creating list with a unique name. After that we need to iterate through the list one for I in L1. After iterating through this one, we need to check condition always. If I not in L2 or not, if this condition is satisfied, here see same thing guys. Here same thing I am splitting. Whenever this condition is satisfied, here we need to perform appending operation. So whenever this condition is satisfied, we need to append that element into this list. Append of I. Okay, it's about print. Set simply. What I'll do is here I'll print I u first. It's about writing a program for unique elements. So it is about traditional approach. Whereas if you want to do same thing for common elements, you need to line these many lines of code. Whereas here we are doing in a single line, guys. That is the advantage of this comprehension concept. Now here I'll explain one more program, and with that I'll conclude for today. Good. Now what I'll do is in the list I'll specify a few people's name. Like here I'll specify Yakub. After that I'll specify Naveen. So after that I'll specify Akhil. After that I'll specify Mahesh. Good. Let's suppose here I specified these four names. Now my requirement is I want to access two characters from each and every string. I want to create a new list by accessing two characters from each and every list. I want to access two characters from each and every list. So first, what I'll do is I'll do this thing by using basic thing. Yeah, by using a traditional approach. So if you want to do this thing by using traditional approach, I want to add all these elements in a new list. So here I'll say NL, that is new list equals to empty list. After that, I want to iterate through each and every list. So here I'll say for I in L, I want to iterate through each and every list. While iterating through this list, what I'll do is I want to perform appending operation. So here, how I need to perform appending operation? NL dot append of So whenever I want to perform appending operation, I want to access only first two characters. So for that, here I'm saying colon of 2. So finally, if you look at NL, you'll get a new list with the first two characters present in each and every string. It's about accessing first two characters present in a string. Now, if you do same thing by using comprehension. So here, TC, that is two character string equals to, two character list equals to, is simply we need to print IF colon 2 for I in L. Simple. In a single line we are doing this. So if you print TC, it will give you an output. So here it is more easier than a traditional approach. Now what I want to do is I want to reverse all the characters present in a string, and with reversing all the characters present in a string, I want to create a new list. Okay. So for that, what we can do, same program and copy pasting. Yeah, good. Here what we can do is simply you can say colon colon minus 1. So if you say colon colon minus 1 means here we created a new list by reversing all the characters present in a list. Whereas same thing if you want to do here, same thing you can copy paste. Simply here also you can specify colon colon minus 1, guys. So it's about the thing. And with this I'm concluding for today. If you have